The analytic rules, you're going to see what you have are active rules. You can see I have 33 active rules. You're going to have rule templates. Now, some of these might have different rule types, like a run on a schedule or NRT, near real time. There's some in here that are going to be labeled as fusion. There's a few different types, and they also have these anomalies, right? And these anomalies, the user, entity, and behavior and analytics, right? So these are going to be usually enabled by default. They're also going to be mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework and what different attack threat vectors they're trying to use. So like defense, evasion, execution, persistence, command and control, initial access, things of that nature. These should be enabled by default. But when you start to get in here and you start to look at these rules or these rule templates, you really want to understand what they're doing, why it's important to your organization, and then start to enable these rules to understand what they're doing and how they're going to impact your organization, because you don't want to overwhelm whoever's actually managing and responding to these incidents, because turning on one rule, it could throw in hundreds or thousands of different incidents, and then having to manually weed through those could potentially have you miss something that's actually actionable, right? So tuning these rules and understanding what they're doing and why it's important to your organization is critical. And all these rules are, let's look at this one. This one's a good demo one. So here's a very simple one that was built off one of these rule templates. So let me edit this. So looking at this one, this query looks for accounts being created where the name does not match a defined pattern. So in your organization, potentially you say all accounts have to meet this certain naming criteria, right? So if you had a malicious actor that was trying to create accounts, if they didn't know your exact pattern, right, that could be an indicator of someone trying to create an account. And maybe if it doesn't, who's really looking at all the new accounts, right? So this one's kind of, I think, clever way to do that. But you'd really have to have a organizational standard that says this is how the naming pattern of the accounts would look. Now, in this one, I just did a simple regex expression here. So everything would have to be UEM dot whatever. So anything that would be created without a UEM dot whatever would trigger an alert. And these are part of those KQL queries, right? You can see here that the audit logs is where the source information of this is coming from. So someone tried to add a user, it was successful, and then we parse through all that and see if the added user matches our regex expression. And if not, then create an incident, and then we have to follow up on it. Pause there. I know I'm going kind of quick. Any questions? All right, let me look at another one real quick here. So, anyway, malicious inbox rule. And really, whenever you start to understand these and look through them, you can see what type of impact it would have to your organization, right? So when you think of account compromise or business email compromise, some of these different tactics that they would use, I've heard from organizations that they would get access to an email account, and then they would start creating all these inbox rules to obfuscate the communication that they would be sending in and out, right? So they get access to a mailbox. They're communicating with either, someone in the accounts payable department or another organization that's going to send payment, where they're actually using that user's email box, but having those inbox rules filter that information to a different storage location, different folder, and being able to send them information that says, yes, I know this was the bank account information. Now I want you to send it to this bank account information. So being able to detect different things within those email accounts or those inbox rules, and seeing what's really happening where users may not be aware of, is a critical way to find potential fraud within the organization. So going back with this KQL, we can see here that it's looking at this Office Activity Custom Log, and it's looking at these different keywords like help desk, alert, suspicious, fake, malicious, all these different things. And then what it's doing is it has the deleted items or junk email, and then scroll through here. So it's going to count them up. So the subject contains those keywords, body contains those keywords, or the subject or body contains those keywords. And then based off of that, we'll create an incident. And we can take a look at those here in our incidents. All right, so here's one. So this is a incident here. What we want to do is there's multiple different ways, but things are labeled by severity, right? So maybe we have some type of priority, right? We highlight the highs, mediums, then lows, something like that. But for this demo's sake, if we want to look at the medium incidents, we have one here. What I first want to do, status, it's active. I'm going to take ownership of this. I want to see the full details here. So when we start to look at this, it's going to start to tell us the story here. So this user on this host at this address, right? These are the entities. This is the user. So this is where we'd start our investigation here of what was happening with that user. They have something going on with their inboxes. So the rule is detecting on delete of traces of phishing email from user mailboxes, right? So there's something going on with this user. We want to start the investigation here and figure out what's going on with that. So having knowledge or incidents raising alerts against these different inbox rules, I think is pretty cool.